have a detailed discussion on how to get started in this industry and find your footing. So, for our last discussion at the fourth Pet Industry Dialogue, we have a discussion on pet startup ecosystem with very brave, experienced, and knowledgeable industry members who have tons of insights to share and who are living proof that success holds a strong possibility in this industry. So, without further ado, I would like to call upon stage the moderator for the session, Mr. Hari Shankar, co-founder of Pets of Paradise and managing director of Europet Products. Thank you for joining us, sir. So I would like to call on stage Mr. Abhishek Agarwal, CEO and chairman of Innomalous Pet Products. Mr. Ajinkya Chopade, founder of ProMeal. Thank you for joining us, sir. Ms. Gauri Shyam Sawant, co-founder of Saga Aquarists and Aquatics. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Shubesh Goel, director of Shubesh Sales. And lastly, Mr. Ankit Alok Bagar, CEO of Lukewarm Private Limited. So I would request the moderator to take over the session.
So good evening, everyone. We've had some really amazing speakers before this, and I think the bar is set quite high. So we'll try to do whatever best we can in terms of engaging you all and trying to find some insightful points which we can cover. So let me start with Shubesh, since I know him a little bit.
First target.
Yeah. So Shubesh, I understand that you're a second generation entrepreneur and you've entered into creating a brand in actually a crowded space.
Yeah.
How did you actually differentiate and find a way to enter that space?
Actually, firstly, I would say maybe the timing was right. We found a gap when we started. There was no one there was either premium or just dirt cheap. So we thought we should build a value-oriented product because people were looking for quality. So that has been our prime focus, to build quality, give quality, so that someone is looking forward to come again. And also at the same time, we try to balance the affordability, or I would not say we are cheap, but we are accessible to all who's looking for quality. I think that's where we set our benchmark, that I want to build quality which is approachable and affordable for all. That was the target, and I think majorly what I would say is consistency and just the whole aspect of perspiring to build a brand. You will have your challenges and hurdles. Just fight to it and go ahead.
Okay.
Super. So Gauri, I would like to ask you the same question. You are into a segment which has a lot of small unorganized players. What is it that you felt was your advantage over them? Why did you enter that space which already had so many small players?
Okay, so as you're saying, so our small space is basically aquariums. So I'm a co-founder of an aquarium shop, okay? And it's more of a feed industry brand, like for the fishes. So now here the basic, as Mr. Shubesh said, even here in our industry, there are many aquarium owners, you get them left and right. But the main fact that we set aside is that our education background. Now, if you go to any aquarium shop, you will definitely not find the person to be a professional in it. Like for me and my other partner, the co-founder, both of us, we have finished our background in fishery science, which is the bachelor's, and then we had our master's in this. And in our master's, we studied our specialization. Like for him, he has studied about feed, like a species-specific feed for each fish, just like how you say for dogs and cats, right? They have specific amount of protein required. So for fishes, it's the same, which basically it's not looked after. So we stand different like that. We produce feed treatment solutions, which for each species is as per their requirement.
Talking about personalized approach to each species.
Yes.
Every
yes,
species
yes,
has a different formulation.
Yes.
There is no one fit solution for all.
No. Because general example, you all know goldfish, right? Yeah. So goldfish, if you see, you find n number of feeds in the market. But from our feed, what sets apart is we use garlic enhancer in it. So it's because for the gut of the fish, like goldfish, they don't need more than 40% of protein. But if you see the other feeds, they have like 40% and more protein included in the goldfish feed, due to which their guts are always, in pain, and then the fishes, they don't live as per their lifespan. But we can guarantee with our feed, it's not like that. Yeah.
Very interesting mode that you have, where
Yeah.
you are using your educational background to come up with a very personalized solution.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, if I go to Abhishek, so Abhishek is a very interesting case in this because he helps startups create products.
Yes.
Now, if we talk about private labeling in general, if I come to you as a private label, I want a private label product, and startup B also comes to you, how do they differentiate each other? Like, what advantage is there if I'm getting it private label manufactured? Basically, the other guy can also copy the same product. How does it help a startup to consider private labeling?
Right. So first of all, let me begin with a brief introduction. My name is Abhishek. I'm the CEO and founder of Innomalous Pet Products. We are an OEM manufacturer of high-quality, premium, natural pet foods, treats, supplements, and other edibles for pets based out of Noida. Uh, and we basically help or enable startups to launch or scale their private label range of pet food. So first of all, let me just introduce what private labeling is in a nutshell. So in the simplest of words, private labeling is like outsourcing your product to a specialist like Innomalous, who takes care of your sourcing, formulations, production, packaging, testing, and so on and so forth, right? While you as a brand can focus on developing the market, building the go-to-market strategies, and basically executing, everything that is needed to make the brand your own, right? Now, I understand where you're where the question is coming from, and of course, this is a concern that we hear from almost just about every startup and brand that we speak with, which is to differentiate in an already crowded market. Now, I'll answer this question in two parts. First of all is the advantages or the benefits of private labeling for, say, startups. The first and foremost advantage is, of course, the product quality, right? When you manufacture a product with a qualified facility that is an ISO, GMP, HACCP, and FDA certified facility, also being supervised under qualified professionals who have years of experience at hand. Of course, we can imagine that the control, precision, consistency, and the efficiency that you get with that kind of setup is far better than, say, a home kitchen, right? So it definitely gives an edge to a startup or to a brand that is starting with a private labeler. The second is, of course, the capex investment, right? I mean, as you would appreciate, starting a manufacturing unit calls for an enormous investment in terms of R&D, in terms of infrastructure, and so on and so forth. And when they work, or when startups work with a manufacturer or a private labeler like Innomalous, they basically don't have to do this, right? They can plug in directly with an operational, like a fully operational system on day one, and rather redirect their resources where they would matter much more, right? Into building a team, into developing their brand, into creating a go-to-market strategy that works for them, right? And third is obviously the scalability aspect of it. When you start up, when you're just starting up, you probably don't need as much manufacturing capacity that it would require to get a manufacturing setup in ready for, right? And I can guarantee that when you're scaling, then you will always reach a point where your manufacturing capability is going to become a bottleneck in your success, in your growth story, right? That's an issue that Innomalous takes away, right? You need a manufacturer who can scale elastically as well as your brand, so that you are always ready to cater to the demand that is emerging. Now, to answer your original question, which is how do brands and startups differentiate themselves, for that precise reason, we as a manufacturer offer a very, very wide catalog with over 1,500 products that they can choose from. A lot of these products are very unique, and they are not currently being sold by any other brand in the market, which offers enormous scope and opportunities for brands to pick something, make it their own, right? not just that, we also offer a lot of custom development capabilities. So essentially, if a brand comes to us with a product idea, with a business idea, we can work with them. We can hone that idea rather, and basically iterate on it and create something that is unique to that brand, that matches their DNA completely. And that is exactly what helps them, stand apart in an already crowded structure, but also backed by, the scale and basically expertise of a manufacturer who's been doing this for many years, rather than them having to reinvent the wheel on their own.
A quick follow-up question to
Sure.
that. Say today Shubesh comes to you and he gets a product developed. He does a lot of marketing on it and makes it a successful product. Tomorrow, Ajinkya will come to you and ask for the same product.
Right.
How is Shubesh's interest protected?
So again, I will not go into the exact specifics, but of course, when a brand like say Shubesh comes to us, there are IP considerations. There are obviously agreements in place that if say it's a custom product that Shubesh is developing with us, I mean obviously it's just part of professional courtesy that we are not going to offer the same product to another brand that walks up to us and specially asks, "Oh, jo Shubesh bana raha hai, wahi chahiye humko." So that it doesn't usually work like that. But of course, if it's a catalog product and something that is absolutely generic, I'll give you a very simple example of, say, plain chicken jerky, as we call it, the original chicken jerky, right? Unfortunately, there's not much differentiation in that product. So if, say, you are creating that jerky at your home, it's going to look almost identical, if not the same, to a jerky that we are manufacturing. And those kind of products, usually brands do not mind if the product is, as long as the product is, consistent, scalable, and is available at a cost that works out in their economic bracket.
I would like to quickly go to Ajinkya. So I understand that you have been an educator before this. It's a very interesting transition from there to feeder insects. So can you explain that journey? How did you identify this and how did you start doing it?
So much like everyone in the room, our journey at ProMeal, by the way, I'm the founder of ProMeal. We farm a few species of insects. We currently cater to the feeder insect market in India and in the small animal and aquarium segment which requires insects. So when I was in Europe, it was very easy for me to just go to any depot, pet depot and get some feeder insects. Or I used to see the feeder insects all across over there. When I came back to India, it was really challenging. So that's a story I think all of us have had at some point where the brand has born out of our personal pain. So that's where it started, where I said, okay, let's try this out and see where this goes. And then we kept on adding some different feeder insects one top of other. And now we are at a scale where we are one of the largest insect farms in the country, doing a lot of about 5 to 6 different species of insects.
That's great. Over to you, Ankit. I think your journey would have been also similar in some ways because you're also into insect protein, but not as a brand, but a raw material manufacturer as a protein source. So how did your journey begin in this? Like, I'm very curious because these are very niche fields. Like, it's not often that you come across. How did your journey begin and what made you go deeper into this?
So, like I and my co-founder, Abhi, we both wanted to do something with a sustainable bioresource. So, in our pursuit of a sustainable bioresource, we came across multiple things. Came across insects, fungus, single cell protein, algae, seaweed. There are a bunch of things which could have been used. Where we felt and we fell in love with insects is because insects love tropical climate. They feed on agri biomass or food processing industry byproducts. We essentially try to get away from insects, and they still contaminate or become a pest for our granaries, etc. So essentially, what we can do to cultivate insects is what we have here in India in abundance. Most insect species are 30 to 70% proteins, 20 to 50% fats. They have a bunch of biomolecules which they bioaccumulate from the food that they eat. And that is what makes them unique, right? And we at India have a distinct advantage because of our climatic conditions, because of us being a large population agrarian country where we have tremendous amount of feedstock to cultivate these insects. So our journey started back in 2019 with black soldier fly larvae, which is the most popular insect. For 3 years, we tried 60 types of different feedstock, did more than 20,000 experiments, and like created a data pool for black soldier fly larvae, mapping their, say, feedstock, growth parameters, nutritional profile, which is actually important for, say, a formulator like that we have here. Then we realized that to really scale it up, really scale any animal agriculture activity, you have to decentralize it. If you look at Amul, they don't own any cattle farms. Like largest milk producer, processor in the country, Sugna, Venky's, Godrej Agrovet, they don't have any poultry farms. Insect agriculture is no different. And that is where our model shifted to like procuring insects and basically processing them into different value-added products, not just basic ingredients. I'm not like we just don't do insect meal or insect protein concentrates and insect oil. We have gone beyond. We have 4 different grades of meal. We have 2 different grades of oil. We have insect protein hydrolysates, which are more than 99% digestible. We have silk proteins, which can basically help. I was like last presentation which ma'am was giving, she focused on softer chews rather than the harder ones. What if I tell you that with the 1% of the silk protein that I have, it can become softer, right? 99% remains the same, and 1% can just help it make softer. And it is a protein, right? So it is not something artificial. Like we don't use chemicals to extract it. It is a physical process that we use to extract it. Our competencies is manufacturing and product development, and we want to stick to it. And that is why we choose to be raw material manufacturers or additive and ingredient and supplement manufacturers, and not the end product guys. We want to tie up with everybody who is formulating, because we want to like play at our own strengths and let others play at their strengths. And that is where like we are particularly keen. This is my first event, first pet event. And I'm particularly keen to learn and understand more from the industry in the ways we can help. A lot of people have heard of insect proteins or insect-derived products. A lot of them might have tried it as well. Where we feel the difference comes in is how scientifically or technically you approach a particular ingredient. No 2 insects are same. The way you process these insects also defines the quality you get out of them. If you're processing something at 200 degrees, it is eventually going to burn, right? So it's not the insect protein which is creating the problem, it's the processing method which is creating a problem. And that is where we feel we have an advantage, because we understand we should not, just burn the entire material or, create so much anti-nutritional factors in the product that it gives you more like cons than the pros in the formulation. So like one of my key things like which sets us apart as raw material or ingredient manufacturer is we approach it like engineers, like proper technical guys, like because we don't want to risk any pet parents or pet's health like with the products, right? So creating awareness is very, very important. A lot of people ask us how much to put in a pet formulation. Right? I have an answer. Right? It cannot be a random, 30% today, 70% tomorrow. It comes with a scientific backing, and she would agree with it, because like it's the combination of ingredients which creates a balanced diet. And our goal is to create a balanced diet for any pet, whether it's dogs, cats, reptiles, ornamental fish, birds, etc. Like it's about the balanced diet which needs to be created, and multiple ingredient comes together and create that magic.
Nice. So one thing I think is a good takeaway from here is that, like in his case, he's gone very deep into what he's good at, rather than trying to build a brand on top of it, and that has worked out for him. This is something that a lot of startups fail to do. Once they start doing one thing, now they have the raw material, they'll start manufacturing biscuit out of it. That is where the whole focus goes down, and you can't delve deep into it and you don't get success. Then you blame the product. So I think what he's doing is something that startups really need to emulate, where they just go deep into one thing and nail it hard. And continuing with sustainability, back to pet care brands. I think, Shubesh, you try to integrate sustainable practices into your brand. How is that working out for you? And is there an actual trend or a need for sustainable products? And since we are talking about sustainability, I thought that we can carry the conversation with you.
Actually, it has two sides, like two sides of the coin. The Gen X, the new age, is looking for sustainable options, but sad to say, the problem is that still the market is, like a little commercially dependent. So I can share my two journeys in the whole sustainable aspect. One was we ourselves built bamboo bowls, like food bowls made out of 100% bamboo, and wherein we tied up with a manufacturer who's not using like bamboo as raw bamboo and compiling it together. He had his special technology of using bamboo as pellets, and he made bamboo pellets out of bowls. But then again, when we brought the bowls out in the market, but then the steel industry in India is immense, vast, and then prices like we were about 5x expensive. So that product died just because it was not price effective. And then like now, thankfully, we are with tofu cat litter. Like a lot of people who have cats, they know what health and overall aspects, biological aspects, health aspect, ecological aspects are with tofu. It's a food grade product, no dust, digestible. The cats have no tracking issues. When they lick themselves, they are not ingesting clay. So it has a lot of benefits, but still again, anything sustainable is a little expensive.
Saying that sustainability in itself is not a moat, you need the pricing advantage end of the day.
In the end, on a commercial aspect, on a scale aspect, it matters. But having said that, like I'll share a personal story. Like I have an NGO, so she bought our tofu litter in Dehradun by Amazon. So the next day we get a call from her on our customer care number that I really love your litter. She's like, by far the best litter I've ever tried, and I don't mind budging extra because I know I have 18 cats and all the cats are healthy. They don't have respiratory issues when they're licking themselves in. And now she buys a good lot from us
So
monthly.
it also depends maybe on like the functionality aspect. Maybe the bowl is not making that much of an impact in the actual
Agreed.
use case, whereas this tofu cat litter has actual like maybe breathing problem
Yes.
implications
Yes.
because of low dust.
Yes.
So it comes down to whether that sustainability or value add is worth as it is
Yes.
to as consumer.
Like we do leashes, like leashes, accessories is one of our strong products. Like I would never sell a dog a leash which is leather. It's like animal cruelty to an animal. So I'm working on like vegan leather. So these are also the projects that we are working on. Now we are trying to control the cost so that it's see, in the end it should be approachable. Nobody should mind spending a little extra, but if it's too extra, then that's where the problem
Makes sense. India is still a value conscious market.
Yes.
Over to Abhishek. There's a lot of talk about functional pet food. Can you give us a little bit on what are the trends coming in and what do you see? Like, what is the future of this functional pet food market? How is it taking shape?
Okay. So what we've seen over the last few years is that, of course, the number of people or number of customers who are looking for functional products or who are
You define functional products?
sure. So basically, functional when we say or when we consider functional products, these are products that are addressing specific health concerns or well-being concerns of pets. So increasingly, we are seeing people getting more conscious about what they feed their pets, and people looking for specific solutions to concerns, or even if they're not in the form of diseases, but say if they're looking for preventive solutions for their pets, and that trend is catching up because we are now seeing and hearing a lot more requests for functional ingredients or ingredients that have functional aspects to them, such as probiotics, such as say omega fatty acids, such as in terms of botanicals, we're seeing a lot of traction for turmeric, ashwagandha, or say other superfoods such as blueberries, hemp, moringa, and so on and so forth. We are also seeing a lot more demand for sustainable protein options such as insect proteins, such as say plant-based options, maybe based out of algae and so on and so forth, which address specific concerns of sustainability or say certain health concerns that or say uh, if not religious, then certain sentiments in terms of keeping sustainability at the helm of it. So we are seeing a lot of traction, whether that's with complete diets or whether that is with the main diets, whether that's with supplements, whether that's in form of treats. So a lot of traction that is shown there. So we certainly see that maybe functional foods or functional products were a niche initially, but now they're slowly becoming the norm. So I think they're going to stick there.
That's great. Back over to you, Gauri. Same thing. Like, what are the trends that you are seeing in fish food industry? Like, how is it taking shape? And as a startup, how are you planning your sales strategy to account for that? And how do you capture that market?
Okay, so in fish industry, I don't think there are many different trends right now. From previous, like previous times, it's still the same. Like for fishes, we usually go for insect feeds, like live feeds. If you see like Artemia cyst, even you see BSF larvae, they are like very common. But with such feeds, the problem is when you feed a direct insect to the fish, right? Not every time it prevents their gut. Not every time it's good for their gut. So nowadays, I think supplementary feeds add up to it. In this, we as a feed manufacturer, like producer right now, so what we do is we take the insect larvae. We also have a BSF in our like product. There's a BSF feed. So we take it at a particular stage and then we formulate it with some ingredients like natural ingredients which make it healthy for the fish. That's one thing. And another, like how marketing, right? You asked for marketing, yeah. So now selling, as we are right now a very short team. It's me, another co-founder, and we have a sales manager too. So the advantage is our sales manager, he has been working as an aquarium shop owner for last 17 years. And now he's working with us, and what we learned from him, like his biggest disadvantage was the feed is available online. So when a customer comes to your shop, okay, you give him Mucuti, right? He liked it. Next time, the customer searches it on Amazon, Flipkart, or Swiggy. You get it in 10 minutes, and you get it for a lower price. In this, okay, the customer gets the product, but what about the retailer? He's not getting his share, right? And then Mucuti is somewhere in his stalls, just there, because everything is available online. So the key feature of our company is we are not available online.
Don't you think that is a double-edged sword? At some point, you'll want to make it available to everyone.
It is still like, even now what we are doing is, our product is available currently in Pune we have like over 60 shops. In Mumbai we have over 20. And it is the main thing, like we want the customer to come back to you. So that when you grow, we'll eventually grow. And we know that our feed stands out in terms, as I said, the educational background plays a major role in this. So yes, the customers want to come back to you.
I think this is a very interesting positioning. When in today's day, everyone is first placing it on Amazon
Online, yeah.
and then going back to the store. You're telling me that you don't want to be online at
No.
all. Yeah, I think that's something that a shopkeeper would get interested in. It's a very interesting proposition.
We actually got a very good response on this. We took a feedback from many shopkeepers, and they're really happy that our feed is not available online because they get a lot of complaints. It's available on Amazon and it's this cheaper. So the customer comes and they start bargaining. So that's another
Makes
thing.
sense, yeah.
And when you see Indian market,
No, you should keep us
plays
posted
like
on
that.
how this plays out. Like,
Yeah,
I'll be
sure.
interested to know. Yeah, it's an interesting case study. Over to Ajinkya again. So in your case, I'm very interested to know, if you take feeder insects, how is the acceptance or perception about bin in India, and how do you compare it with in Europe, where you had already got a taste of it before? How do people perceive it and accept it over there vis-a-vis here?
Yeah, so very interesting because if you go to US or Europe, it's almost very common to walk into any pet mall and see a lot of feeder insects being displayed there. In India, there's a lot of education which has to go in first. And when we sell feeder insects, we almost always sell it as treats or for a lot of insectivorous pets where they consume about 30 to 40% of their diets from insects. We sell a large range of insects actually. So not just BSF, but we do mealworms, superworms, crickets, a few varieties of crickets and locusts and all. So the perception you are asking. So it has taken us some time, but the product in itself has done the work for us. So what happens when you go in with a live feeder insect or even a whole dried insect for a lot of pets, fish or turtles or reptiles for that matter, the pets would suddenly start coming to you. You suddenly have a much more interaction with the pet, which generally doesn't happen with pellets. So suddenly the owners would feel, would create and understand that the product is working. And then word of mouth is something which has spread really well for us. One thing which we have done, which I feel was very important to do here is to be able to pack them in a way that we try to reduce the ick factor as much as possible. So, but then again, after a few tries, if your fish comes swimming at you or the turtle comes running at you, then you would give that treat to your pet.
That's lovely. So in your case, I would like to understand, see, insect protein, now he's playing in a market where the amount of emotional bonding with that pet is much lesser. Now you want to enter into dog and cat food space. That is very personal. Like I have dogs and cats. I will think 10 times before putting anything on their plate. How do you change perception there? It's way more trickier than his case where, okay, they're getting the engagement from the pet and that is good enough, validation. But here now you have to play with the consumer and the customer. The consumer is the dog, which has to eat it, and the customer has to perceive this as of higher value than giving something else. How do you solve this in this space?
So, like a couple of questions before you asked about how important is sustainability, right? So, I think for a pet parent, the most important thing is health. Pet's health comes first. Sustainability is a topper, right? So, if I am saying I'll give as much benefit as an ingredient that I'm replacing, or more, that is the first tick mark. Now it's my job to prove it. Maybe working with Abhishek, right? Maybe working with some vet lab in the country or outside. If I am able to prove it that it is safe, it has the health benefits that it is supposed to give to a, say, a dog or a cat or even the smaller animals. Like that is one big tick mark that a good educated formulator would look into, is one. Second, what are the quality parameters? Like what is bad quality, average quality and good quality ingredient, right? That is like important to define, and that is where the real awareness and education comes in. Now there can be 20 people selling a particular insect protein. Like I said in my previous answer as well, not all of them are the same because the processing matters. So what I can do to basically,
If I may just stop you
Yeah.
because of lack of time,
Sure.
I just wanted to ask you in particular. See, there have been other brands who have come up with insect protein.
Yeah.
Now they've created a perception that this is a strange product.
Yeah.
Now your job is not only to educate the market, you have to break this old whatever has been set up in people's mind as well.
Yeah.
It's a very complex task. Like, how do you go about breaking that whole thing that has been built around it? That, okay, insect. See, first thing when I think about insect, I think of icky beings that crawl on the surface. Why do I want to put that on my dog's plate? How do you bring that change? And a lot of people I've spoken to had the same query. Like, why feed insects? Like, there's enough chicken.
Yeah, that is fine. So what do you do if you're looking for an hypoallergenic solution then? Right.
That is a very important use case.
So, you don't want to fight the losing battles. If somebody is positioning a vegan pet food I'm not going to go out there sell insect proteins to them, right? It's waste of time, resources, money. If somebody is willing to position a sustainable animal-based pet food, where do you get sustainable animal meat? You tell me, right? Either you are killing wild marine fish to get fish meal or wild marine sources, right? Chicken, pork, beef. Yeah, yeah, we are
You're still
killing the
killing
insect.
the insect.
It's so like we all kill insects while we are farming soybean, right? Millions of them, right? We are not looking for organic soybean, right? Organic soybean won't be affordable and won't be as available and as accessible. So we don't mind killing cockroaches like in our kitchens or mosquitoes at our homes using a like hit, right? So that is where we all are killing insects, right? So it's also about a lot of perception that we have because we all are equally responsible for killing millions and millions of insects, even if we are propagating a vegan culture.
Understood.
Right? So if till the time it is organic plus vegan, it doesn't stop killing insects.
Understood. So the organizer has given me a 5-minute warning right now. She wants us to stop the meeting. I have a lot of questions left, but if any of you have questions, we'll take that first. If not, I'll just continue with any questions I have. Anyone in the audience wants to ask any one of them anything?
Um, about the insect protein, while there are alternative sources of protein available in the market, and there are concentrates and isolates available, one of the biggest challenges for a pet food manufacturer while incorporating an ingredient is also the price point that they want to achieve, right? So where are we going in India right now in terms of the insect protein market, right? For its effective use, when we are, let's say, talking about a product, a final pet food being rolled out at a price lower than boneless chicken, let's say 350 rupees a kg, right? They're incorporating an ingredient which is, let's say, 600 plus. There are limitations, right? So how do you people, how are you thinking? You are obviously applying more head into how to bring those costs down and things like that. Would you please kindly elaborate on that?
Sure. So when we are considering 350 rupees a kg, are we considering wet or dry? Just a counter question, small counter question that would help me. Wet, right? So like 350 rupees wet is roughly what, around 1400 rupees dry, correct? 75% moisture content, right? So dry, okay. So
No. So he's talking about wet food, I mean wet ingredient, but in manufacturing of dry food.
okay,
So
okay.
he's asking, how does it sit compared to, say, a chicken dry protein? How does the costing work out?
Yeah. So
Does it make it costlier, less costlier?
no, so like in our case, it is much more affordable. We're selling around 120 tons of insect protein now in aquaculture, which is even much more price sensitive than pet food manufacturing. So like we can definitely engage more, but I can assure you that pricing is not at all a problem. So like affordability, accessibility, availability, that has to tick for bulk manufacturing, right? While giving you health and sustainability benefits. If I tick 5 boxes for you, you will be happy as a manufacturer, I'll be happy as an ingredient seller. And I can assure you that that is possible with us. We are the 5th largest insect protein manufacturer in the world as of now in terms of volumes. We are GMP, ISO, HACCP certified, so quality, and ISO 22000 certified, so food grade management systems. So I think we should be able to help you solve the affordability barrier if you ask about, say, loopworm
I think,
as a supplier.
yeah, you should take the conversation right after this. He will be able to give you the exact price.
Hi. Basically, I'm someone who's looking forward to coming into this industry. So from past 6 to 7 months, I've been researching, and I think today is the day where I got a lot of information. It's been very difficult to find information on the internet on which area in the pet industry to get into. So since this is the perfect platform with you guys, what would you suggest from where I start and where exactly should I go to enter to the industry?
I think in small, crisp words, I would say it's an open market. Everywhere there's an opportunity. Just find your niche, find your calling, and just go into it and just think that you can be the next disruptor. See, Mama Earth, when they started, they never imagined that they're going to compete with HUL. Nobody, like, nobody dream, like everyone dreams, like I follow my simple mantra is dream bigger. So always just imagine that you can bring change, bring a utility factor. In the end, the customer is looking for something better than whatever is available on the shelf. Just add some value and you will see the difference. Just go on with it.
I think to summarize what he's saying, you should do your own deep research onto what is available in that area. India is again a very fragmented market. Every city is different. You cannot expect what is happening in Mumbai to work in Bangalore and what is working in Bangalore to work in NCR. So do your research locally. There is always a possibility that something that is available elsewhere is not available there. Start there because that will be the easiest thing for you to cover up and then build on top of it. Like there's no direct answer to this, but at least start from your research. That is the best point to start. Thank you everyone. I think she'll just push me off the table now.
I would just to summarize, just end. I would thank Binoy for making this panel. It's a very interesting panel, I would say. And thank you for the opportunity. Handful of people, but we love to share our journey and thank you for compiling all of us. We will take it for lunch.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, panelists. So I request Miss.
They don't want you to speak.
Okay, I apologize for the inconvenience, but we have a 2-day exhibition and a networking cocktail dinner. You can ask all the questions you want there. So I request Ms. Bhugusha Jijit to come and felicitate the speakers. Mr. Ajinkya Chopade. Miss Gauri Shyam Sawant. Mr. Shubesh Goel. And lastly, Mr. Ankit. And Mr. Abhishek Agarwal, please give him a big round of applause.